What's up, guys? Nick from Source Strength. Sorry about the video angle again. Maybe if you guys would get more people to watch, I'd go ahead and invest in like a little holster for it or whatever, so I don't have to do these bad angles. But until then, this is where we're at. So I just wanted to make a quick video and talk about RPE. If you don't know what RPE is, I would suggest looking it up before I give you this horrible explanation of what it is. But basically, I think it stands for the rate of perceived effort or perceived exertion. So the way that it's supposed to be used, if you were going to do 1 rep max, and let's say you programmed yourself a 1 rep max, and it was like really hard, and it was like a grinder. Most people would say, oh God, that was so hard, I feel like I couldn't do it anymore. That's a RPE of 10. So the scale is 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. 1 being almost no effort, 0 meaning no effort, 10 meaning the most amount of effort possible. And that is where people get it wrong. So what an RPE of 10 truly means, when you go down in a squat and you come back up and you're moving like 0 miles an hour and all the veins in your head are busting out of your head, your eyeballs want to pop out, and you just shit yourself, that's an RPE of 10, okay? So not whenever you do, let's say 95% of your max, or let's say 90% of your max, that doesn't mean it was an RPE of 9. If you did 90% for 1 rep, that could have felt great, and that could have been an RPE of 6 or 5, okay? If you guys want, look at my Instagram, soars_strength. I put a video up there today of me doing a yoke walk. I don't know the weight. I wasn't really too worried about it. Somewhere around 600 pounds for 50 feet, excuse me. Look at the video. You'll see it's really hard for me to take a step. My whole body is shaking, and I'm making all these weird noises and spits coming out of my mouth. My face is red, and it looks awful. But that was like a RPE of 8, and most people would have rated that a 10. So RPE doesn't mean it felt pretty hard, let me rate it this. It's like how many more could you have done, or how hard was the effort. So you have to be like really true with yourself. I saw a video on Instagram of some girl, and she was bench pressing 120 for 3 reps, for 2 sets of 3, and she called it a RPE 10. Well, anything that's a 10, you couldn't do more than 1 rep. That still doesn't mean that your 1 rep max is a 10 RPE. It just means that if I did 5 reps with something, I could rate it, well, depending on what the weight is. So if I did 5 reps with 135 on the bench press, and let's say I'm a 500 pound bencher, that's going to be like a RPE of 0. Like, that was no exertion. That was really easy. If I'm a 500 pound bencher and I do 405 for 5 reps, that could be an RPE of 4 or 5, depending on how hard it was. I could do, if I was a 500 pound bencher, do 495 for 2, and that could be an RPE of 7. So the problem with RPE and why I think you shouldn't use it is it's just a scale for yourself to see how hard you think it is. All right, well, sorry the video keeps getting cut in and out. The phone keeps dropping on my dash. But anyway, so if you were to take RPE out completely of your training, and then you looked at your training as, let me show you how I approach it. Whether I have 135 on the bar, or I have 500 pounds on the bar, I always want to give an effort of like 8. So if it's 135 on the bench press, or on the squat, or deadlift, or overhead, I'm not going to haphazardly grab the bar. I'm not going to not get tight, and I'm not going to not be serious about it. So even if it's 10% of my 1 rep max, I still am giving it like an 8 out of 10 effort. So, because that's the way you grow, and that's the way you get better. Like, you have to create really good habits for yourself, and once you start treating 135 like your max like 135, you'll thank me. But if you were just to look at your workouts as a whole and say, okay, every workout, whether it's a heavy day, a rep day, dynamic day, a speed day, any day, I want to give that like an 8 out of 10. as far as my effort. Like, I want to not try 80%. And you got to look at this as like very specifically. So 100% isn't always good. Most times it's not good unless you're in a competition. You don't ever want to go to 100% of your squat, 100% of your max for anything, because what do you have left after you've done the 100%, right? But if you were to drop the weights a little bit, you go to 80% every time you go to the gym, whether like 8 out of 10, whether it be like you're doing a curl, you want to go 100% with your curls. You don't want to have sloppy form, but at like 80%, you can have really good form. It's still really, really heavy, somewhere between 80 and 90%. So maybe just drop RPE and stop breaking every set and every rep and say, well, that was RPE at 7.5 and that was an RPE. That's stupid. I think RPE is cool if you're newer into lifting and you're just trying to make lifting exciting. And I don't want this video to come off to anybody who uses RPE as a bad thing, because anytime that you're trying to make yourself better, that's great, man. That is awesome. I think RPE is a good tool, but I think you should just tweak a little bit how you feel about RPE. Maybe don't use it set to set and rep to rep. Maybe just use it for the workout as a whole. So we have like a little workout diary. I know what I'm doing before I walk in the gym. I know what I'm doing weeks in advance. But at the end of the workout, I like to rate the workout in my little diary. Man, today's workout was like a 7 out of 10. So then I'll break it down and say, well, the barbell part of the workout was like a 6 out of 10. That wasn't that bad. The conditioning was like a 9 out of 10. And the warm-up was like a 1 out of 10. And it's not so that next week I can up those numbers. It's not so I can look back and say, oh, I can't believe I was using this weight or that weight. It's just to show myself over time that I'm getting better. Because whether I rated a 7.5, an 8.5, a 9, or a 10 doesn't really matter. What matters is like, did you push yourself hard? Did you do an 8 out of 10 workout? Or did you text on your phone, and did you leave the gym early? Did you not finish your programming? And that would put you at like a 4 out of 10. So use RPE, don't use RPE, totally up to you. I just think that maybe don't be so worried about the percentages and the exact RPE. Mark Bell said this, and it's something that I say to people all the time. If somebody wants programming for their bench and they say, hey, I'm a 400-pound bencher and I want to be a 500-pound bencher, I'm a little bit in the elite level, I need help with my programming, what should I do? And what he said was great, and it says, just do some for a few. And that pisses people off because they want exact programming, they want exact set, reps, rep scheme, all that stuff. But really, if you just were to do some weight for a few reps, keep it simple, stupid, KISS, that acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid, and not get too caught up in the sets, reps, percentages, and RPE, and just go ahead and move weight and try like really hard. You get really, really good results. That's kind of it. I know I was all over the place with the video once again. I just was driving home and I was thinking about RPE. I don't want this video to come out the wrong way. I have a lot of friends that use RPE. I tried to use RPE and I just wasn't a fan of it. I realized that I was already using my own modified version of it and just rating the workout as just like an effort for the day. If you were to do, like I said 100 times, an 8 out of 10 effort for the day, you leave some in the tank, you still went hard as fuck, and you leave yourself room to grow. I'll say one more thing just because it kind of relates to this. With the percentages and things like that, I never go to an absolute 100% one rep max. I push it really close, 95, 96, right? Because I know my body and I know what I'm capable of and stuff. But if I go to, let's say I pull a 1 rep max, and most people would say, well, that was 100% of your max, right? Like, that's a new PR. But what I do is I cut myself on those PRs. So if I could have got a 10-pound PR, I'll shoot for a 5-pound PR. So what that's going to do, instead of getting the 10-pound PR, which is cooler, it'll drop my overall percentage so much lower. So my 100% isn't actually my 100%, which means my 80% isn't actually 80, it's lower. And what that does is causes you to work with lower weights. And when you work with lower weights, that's when you actually grow. That's when you do get stronger. Because what happens is we have a huge ego, and the moment that we get 405 on the deadlift, we want to go pull that like every time we deadlift. But instead of like pulling really close to 400, if you were just to work on, well, I can only pull 315 for 5 reps. When I pull 315 for 10 reps, I'll try a new PR. That's how you grow. You're not gonna get PRs if you work in the 90 percentile every time you go in the gym, and not doing the full one rep max it'll force you to work with lower percentages, which will in turn increase your 1 rep max. I know there's a lot of numbers. This video is like, if you don't know what RPE is and you don't know percentages, you're probably lost. So if you take one thing from the video, just go 8 out of 10 every time you go in the gym, you'll be fine. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Soars_strength on Instagram. If you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe below. If you didn't, thumbs down, don't subscribe. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. If you have anything you want me to talk about, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. And for like the 5 people that watch this, I appreciate you guys. All right, thank you.